I thought I was just signing up for a workout, a way to burn off stress, a way to clear my head after long days and lonely nights. I never imagined that a simple hour at the gym would change someone's life, or mine. But everything shifted the moment she leaned closer during our cool-down stretch and whispered, her voice trembling, "You make me feel alive again." Before we begin, if stories about real connection and simple acts of kindness touch your heart, make sure to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Welcome to Your Channel Name, where we believe small moments can create big change. Now let me tell you what happened. 3 years ago, my life looked fine from the outside. I had a decent job in a small marketing firm outside Chicago. I paid my bills on time. I showed up when I was supposed to. But inside I felt empty. My dad had passed away the year before. My relationship ended not long after. The apartment felt too quiet at night. I'd come home, toss my keys on the counter, and sit in silence. Sometimes I wouldn't even turn on the TV. I just stared at the wall and wondered how everything could feel so heavy. One evening, after realizing I hadn't spoken to anyone outside of work all weekend, I decided something had to change. I joined a small community fitness center a few blocks away. Nothing fancy, old treadmills, scuffed floors, a cork board covered in faded flyers for yoga classes and senior aerobics. That's where I met her. Her name was Margaret. She was standing near the stretching mats the first morning I walked in. Silver hair pulled into a low ponytail, pale blue sweatshirt, white sneakers that looked older than some of the gym equipment. She seemed out of place among the younger crowd lifting weights and taking selfies. I noticed her because she looked unsure. She kept glancing around like she was trying to figure out where she belonged. The instructor that day was leading a beginner-friendly movement class. I figured it was a good place to start. As I laid out my mat, Margaret slowly lowered herself onto the one beside mine. She gave me a polite smile. "First time?" she asked. "Yeah," I said, rubbing the back of my neck. "Thought I should probably do something before I turn into a couch." She chuckled softly. "I'm Margaret, and I'm here because my doctor said if I don't start moving, my joints will completely give up on me." There was something honest about the way she said it. No self-pity, just fact. "I'm Jake," I replied. "Guess we're both under orders." From that day on, we always ended up next to each other. At first, our conversations were small: weather, sore muscles, how confusing some of the exercises were. But as weeks passed, something shifted. We started staying a few minutes after class, sitting on the mats, talking. I learned Margaret was 72. She'd lost her husband Tom 2 years earlier after 46 years of marriage. They had one son who lived in Arizona with his family. He called every Sunday, she said, but it wasn't the same. "The house echoes now," she admitted one morning while we wiped down our mats. I didn't realize how much noise one man could make just by existing. That line stayed with me. I told her about my dad, about how he used to call me every Friday night just to check in, even when I pretended I was too busy to talk long. After he was gone, Fridays felt strange, like something important had been erased from the calendar. Margaret listened in a way most people don't. She didn't interrupt. She didn't try to fix anything. She just nodded gently, like she understood the shape of grief. One day during class, we were paired up for balance exercises. The instructor told us to hold onto a partner's hands and lean back slightly, trusting each other to stay steady. Margaret hesitated. "I'm not very stable," she said quietly. "I've got you," I told her. She placed her hands in mine. They were light and fragile but warm. We leaned back slowly. For a second, I felt her wobble. "I'm here," I repeated. She steadied. After that, something changed between us. It wasn't dramatic, it was subtle. But there was trust now. We started grabbing coffee after class once a week. A small diner down the street with cracked red booths and bottomless refills. She'd order oatmeal with brown sugar. I'd get scrambled eggs and toast. She told me stories about road trips she and Tom used to take, about dancing barefoot in their kitchen to old Motown records, about how he used to squeeze her hand 3 times before falling asleep. That was our code, she said with a soft smile. It meant I love you. I didn't realize how much she needed to tell those stories, or how much I needed to hear them. One afternoon, the class was doing light resistance training. Nothing intense, just simple movements with bands and small weights. Margaret was quieter than usual. "Everything okay?" I asked as we did seated leg lifts. She forced a smile. Today would have been our anniversary. I didn't know what to say, so I did the only thing that felt right. After class, instead of heading home, I asked if she'd like to walk in the park across the street. The leaves were turning orange and gold, crisp fall air, the kind that makes you breathe a little deeper. We walked slowly. She talked about her wedding day, about the way Tom looked at her when she walked down the aisle, about how certain songs still made her chest ache. At one point, her voice cracked. "I don't want to forget him," she said, "but sometimes it feels like if I stop talking about him, he disappears." I stopped walking and looked at her. "He doesn't disappear," I said gently. "He's in every story you tell, every time you laugh at something he used to do. That's not forgetting, that's carrying him with you." She stared at me for a long moment. Then she nodded. After that day, our routine became something sacred. Tuesdays and Thursdays at the gym, coffee on Thursdays, park walks when the weather allowed. I started looking forward to those mornings more than anything else in my week. And then came the day she whispered those words. It was a rainy morning. Only a handful of people showed up to class. The instructor put on soft music for the cool-down stretch. The lights were dim. Rain tapped against the windows. We were sitting cross-legged, leaning forward in a gentle stretch. Margaret turned toward me. Her eyes were glossy. "I need to tell you something," she said. I straightened up, worried. She reached over and placed her hand on mine. When Tom died, I stopped feeling anything. Food tasted dull. Music sounded flat. I woke up every morning and just counted the hours until I could go back to bed. She swallowed hard. "Coming here was supposed to be about my joints, but it became about you, about someone asking how I'm really doing, about laughing again, about remembering I still have a place in this world." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "You make me feel alive again." I felt my throat tighten. I had thought I was just being friendly, just showing up, just passing time. I didn't realize that sitting beside her, holding her hands during balance exercises, listening to her stories, had become a lifeline. And in that moment, I understood something else. She had done the same for me, because those mornings pulled me out of my own loneliness. They gave my week shape and meaning. They reminded me that I still mattered to someone. Kindness isn't always grand gestures. It's not always heroic. Sometimes it's just staying. Sometimes it's remembering someone's anniversary. Sometimes it's saying, "I've got you," and meaning it. Margaret still goes to that gym. I still meet her there. She moves a little slower now, but her laugh comes easier. She even started inviting another older woman from her neighborhood to join the class. "You can't keep all the good to yourself," she told me once with a wink. A few months ago, her son visited from Arizona. She introduced me proudly. "This is Jake," she said, "my workout partner, and my friend." Friend, it's a simple word, but it felt bigger than any promotion or paycheck I've ever received. Looking back, I realize I didn't join that gym just to exercise my body. I went there to exercise my heart. We live in a world where people are surrounded by others and still feel invisible, where grief hides behind polite smiles, where loneliness sits quietly at kitchen tables. You never know who's standing next to you, holding more than they can carry. Maybe it's the woman on the mat beside you. Maybe it's the neighbor you wave to but never really talk to. Maybe it's you. The truth is, kindness doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require the right words. It just requires presence, a conversation, a shared cup of coffee, a steady pair of hands saying, "I've got you." That rainy morning, when Margaret whispered that I made her feel alive again, I realized something powerful. We had both been saving each other. So if you're watching this and wondering whether small acts really matter, They do. They matter more than you think. Show up for someone. Listen longer than usual. Ask the extra question. Offer your hand. Because one day, without even realizing it, you might hear someone whisper, "You make me feel alive again." And that might just change everything. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Let's build a community here at your channel name that believes in the quiet power of kindness. Until next time, keep showing up for each other. You never know whose life you're helping bring back to life.